This is a short example of a life reading using only the Major Arcana cards. I'm doing it for myself, Sue Burton Hidalgo. The Major Arcana cards can be read by themselves as states of consciousness. It's good to understand the motivations of all layers of our consciousness when making decisions that influence the years ahead for ourselves and those around us. Separating the majors and minors and working with only the majors can give great insight, very clear. Use this spread when difficult or unexpected situations occur in life and you need to discover and understand your motives and hopes. So the following is a Major Arcana consciousness spread. The majors themselves are going to be divided away from the minors, and then they're going to be divided into three piles: a subconscious pile, a conscious, and a superconscious pile. The next page is a chart listing the three piles. And then we're going to choose 3 cards from each of the piles for a reading. Setting aside the Fool card, divide the majors into 3 piles. The subconscious cards are Magician, High Priestess, Empress, Emperor, Hierophant, Lovers, and Chariot. The conscious cards are Justice, Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Strength, Hanged Man, Death, and Temperance. Some of you are aware that Justice and Strength are flipped in some decks, so that Strength, Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Justice, Hanged Man, Death, and Temperance would be those conscious cards. They're the same cards. It's just that some card makers prefer to flip those 2 cards. The superconscious cards are the Devil, Tower, Star, Moon, Sun, Judgment, and World. In a more in-depth class about the Major Arcana, I explain why these levels of consciousness and these particular cards are put together. So here are the subconscious layers. There are issues, motivations, and influences. The issues are card 1 of the subconscious, and they reflect your dreams. That's the main issue within your subconscious. It may ring a bell with you as it shows your hidden fantasies and dreams. The motivations in the subconscious layer is card 2, and that reveals your thoughts. Hidden underlying motivations you probably maybe haven't been aware of. This shows your true inner thoughts about the issue or situation. The third card in the subconscious layer is influences on your personality and life. Influences affecting you from deep within the psyche, such as buried memories, hopes, and fear patterns. The conscious layer shows focus, insights, and a wild card. The focus is card 1 and examines decisions, choices you're making, and whether they're ultimately beneficial. Shows the choices you're making and your awareness at this time consciously. The second card reveals areas of neglect, underlying considerations you're aware of and need to work with, the goals and thoughts not to overlook. And the third card at the conscious level is called the wild card and reveals external influences, random factors coming into play, such as people around you, environment, or circumstances, which in my label of the universe, this is not so wild. This is actually karma and dharma arriving within your life. The superconscious layer is about guidance, experiences, and your effects. Card 1 provides guidance on the most direct path to wisdom and how to light your path to growth. Card 2 reveals lessons gained by experiences. These are usually lessons learned and integrated, why you are handling your situation, and the approaches you are taking. Card 3 of the superconscious is the effects your life has had on those around you. It's a higher perspective on how the ripples you're creating and how that's spreading out and affecting the consciousness of those around you. And following is the example reading after I've sorted my 3 piles of Tarot Major Arcana into 3 piles of consciousness, shuffled and drawn 3 cards for each level. And the question I had was, okay, it was, go ahead, Spirit, show me what you want to tell me about this life experience that I'm leading. That's a pretty good Major Arcana reading question. It's not as specific as should I move to California or take a new job or something else that a major, or get a divorce or marry someone. These are examples of Major Arcana card questions, because these are questions that will affect self and others for quite a while in each other's lives. But in this case, I chose to ask for myself, for Spirit to show me what this incarnation's about for me. At 64 years old, I should be pretty aware of this, so I thought it would be fun to take a look at it. Let's take a look at this in depth. The subconscious layer, the issues, and my dreams are the lovers making a choice and being able to listen to and connect with the guidance of the angelic, of what might be called the superconscious. So at a subconscious, I have a drive to listen to this internal voice of spirit. That's my hidden dream, that happens for me. My motivation is to be a teacher, to continue to uphold the faith. Those are actually my thoughts. I am aware of this hidden strength and hidden inner thought. And the influences from deep within my psyche and my personality and life is that I have the power and the strength, the words and the emotions to be able to pull together the powers on this earthly plane in order to be a teacher and make choices that are based on guidance of the higher self. And so the body of the reading, the subconscious layer, I have chosen as card 1, the lovers, card 2, the Hierophant, and card 3, the magician. Card 1 is about the dreams and the main issue within the subconscious. And it may ring a bell with you as it shows your hidden fantasies and dreams. Now, in my subconscious, the issue is making choices. Am I making the right choice? Is my passion making my logic flee? Am I loved by the divine? Is this connection true? Is there a merging to the higher source? Can it be sustained? And can there be harmony within that merging? And I do think about this quite a bit, actually. I think it shades a lot of what goes on in my life. Am I merged with the divine? And in the motivation level, the hidden underlying motivations, true inner thoughts about the issue, is the Hierophant. And my motivation to teach and to become the teacher of the faith to others does have a lot to do with my devotion to and merging with the superconscious, my beloved. So the Hierophant suggests listening to wisdom and understanding tapped from my own core of inner wisdom. So I think that is true, that I may gain information from others, but I always try to decide what I think about it. What does my higher self enable me to choose to govern those lovers' choices? And am I listening externally obediently and turning my decisions over to others, or am I really connected to my inner faith? The influences affecting me from deep within the psyche, such as buried memories, hopes, or fear patterns, influences on my personality and life, is I definitely want to be a powerful person, to have outer power. So I focus on healing work, even though people love the P word, the psychic reading work. I'm really loving the working with the human energy field, because that is manifesting power in noticeable ways. If you can make an action in the field or talk to someone verbally and have them access the universal? Can I access the universal elements, earth, water, fire, and air, consciously amplified, and work with them? And am I able to use this body as a dynamic conduit with confidence and awareness? I think this is one of the things I've really worked on doing in my life. Um, and this, I think, is why I'm such a teacher, along with the Hierophant and the lovers. I also talk about it in my mission statement that I'm very focused on helping people become a happy human. That's my byline, the happy human, getting them to understand what choices they have and even look for ones they don't know they have, and to be aware that they can make positive, happy choices. So I think this is a really good description of my motivations and influences in the world. To continue this reading of the Major Arcana cards at a conscious layer, my focus, the choices I'm making, and whether they're ultimately beneficial, and examining my decisions, is to surrender to this idea that I have a destiny that is linked to the greater Christ self. The insights and the underlying considerations that I'm aware of and need to work with is the change, the cycle of sometimes you ride the tiger, some days it eats you. Um, I always want to have the days that I'm riding the tiger, and it's important to recognize that there are cycles in life and to be able to swim with the stream rather than swimming against it. The wild card is the external influences and random factors from people around me, the environment and circumstances. And this shows the justice card, the mediator who learns to value the emotions as much as the mind and to not become overly balanced in the mind or overly balanced in the emotions, but rather to keep the two in balance. So the conscious cards say that my focus is surrendering, my insight is to go with the flow, and the wild card is to be able to balance my head and heart. So now we come to the conscious layer and the three cards that I have shuffled and drawn for that. The Hanged Man, examining decisions. The Wheel of Fortune, card 2, revealing areas of neglect. And card 3, external influences, justice. So focus at the conscious layer is choices I'm making and whether they're ultimately beneficial. And am I aware of them? I think that I am aware of the element of sacrifice in my life. I have long said that there was a point in my life where I said, no, I don't want to do this odd work. I want to be a normal human being with polka dot curtains, 2 cars in the garage, and 3 kids. But this wasn't what choices applied themselves in my life. I'm really moved towards this surrender and knowing that what's meant to happen by divine order will occur. I've been probably not so patient and calm. I've been more of a person of force of will, but I have been driven inward to reflect, to give vision or space to the situations, getting a new perspective about how I wasn't necessarily meant to have the type of life that I saw in my family life. And so I consciously made some choices um, and moved towards those perspectives and tried to surrender to the natural flow in order to not be frustrated or helpless, although I think sometimes I did see the reversal of the Hanged Man to become a little struggling with, a little frustrated. But the second card, the Wheel of Fortune, the insights, underlying considerations I'm aware of and need to work with, thoughts and goals not to overlook. I have realized I've had to go with the flow, that I can't make the stream, I can't swim upstream. that I have to be aware of, that life has cycles, highs and lows. I'm a person who really likes to move towards the highs and not get connected with the lows, really. And I've had to determine the effect that situations have had on me, and accept them, which is a nod back to the hanged man, leading to constructive and positive developments. I haven't always not struggled against change, but for the most part, I have been pretty courageous and pretty bold, but it always needs work for me, that moving ahead. And the wild card at the conscious layer is justice, random factors, the external environment, external influences. I really have worked on needing to integrate feeling and logic and to have that be balanced. Sometimes I'm a little too logical rather than going with my feelings, and I think that my feelings have suffered sometimes, and that other people have come into my life to encourage me to move towards my feelings. I have been very focused on universal laws that bind us, and I've tried to be responsible and understand situations, and I'm definitely almost always working on acting with integrity and working on my own destiny. Sometimes I feel that life has been unfair, or others haven't accepted me, and I've really been kind of dogged about that when people have come into my life to want to misunderstand me or put their emotions on me. So yes, these conscious layer, I've had to surrender, I've had to go with the flow, I've had to decide about the balance between my head and my heart, or even my head and my gut. So the superconscious layer gives me guidance. It says, don't be afraid of that which is deep within you. Listen to your deep subconscious. Connect with the deep subconscious. Don't be afraid of the journey from the most base part of yourself through the pain and suffering and troubles of this life. The experiences at the superconscious level, lessons learned and integrated, and how I'm handling my situation in life and the approaches that I'm taking, the lessons I'm gained through the experiences of this life is to take the chains off of me, to recognize that I do not have to be owned by the foibles of this dimension and the pain that it is. The effects that my life has had on those around me, the higher perspective on the ripples I'm creating, and how that's spreading out and affecting the consciousness of those around me is the world. Now this makes sense because I have worked with tens of thousands of people in my life, sometimes to a good degree and sometimes to a lesser degree, to attempt to help bring this dance of the cosmos into a state of balance. So here are the three cards I've picked for the superconscious layer. For guidance, card 1 is the moon. For experiences, card 2 is the devil. And card 3, the effects on the ripple on the pond, the world. The guidance on the most direct path to wisdom and how to light my path to growth for my superconscious. It is true, I've had to look at my secret fears and my emotions. I may appear serene, but there's a lot of changeable energy underneath the surface. And I've tried to follow my deepest instincts and emotions. As I said, in the conscious level, that's sometimes a little bit of a wobble for me. I've had to focus on what stops me from being the myth or the dream or the goal, and the guidance is to follow that, the mysteries, the imagination, to be introspective, to meditate, and to move past the irrational and compulsive towards connecting with the serenity and the very deep instincts, like the subconscious level in the Hierophant, to trust and have faith. The experiences, lessons learned and integrated, why I'm handling my situation, the approaches I've taken. Well, heck yes, I laugh about the devil card here. I've repeatedly had to remind myself to take the chain off my own neck and to not be seduced by these fears and inner shadows. Instead, to move towards the higher end of the moon. I've had to learn a lot about um, love, sexuality, sensations of powerlessness, and I've had to move past my primeval mind, the unconscious, and give my power over to God as well as know that I'm God. So it's been a really trying circumstance to not be chained to anything and not be chained to the past, in particular to the oppressions and the fears, and to connect with love. Now, the effects I've had, I'm not really surprised about the world being there because I really have made a big ripple in this life and I've affected the consciousness of people around me. I know it's not the ending of a cycle, and it's a new cycle to continue to gain wisdom and to move towards fresh starts of being liberated from the devil, my fears, or even my pain, the moon, to make all this choices about that, and to know that life is good and bright, successful, that there's luminous, it's luminous, to see and live the true me, the unashamed, naked, open self. And I think I have taught a lot of people to do that because I've worked with tens of thousands of people with readings, with healing, and with training classes, and just in everyday life. I always think I could have done more, the devil, and perhaps haven't been as clear as I would like to be, the moon, but never fear. I have, from the magician, the subconscious layer, gone ahead anyway and used what skills and tools I have to make choices. So I can relate to this reading in terms of, well, asking the all that is, the source, what its message for me is about this life. I want to thank you for listening to this audio. And if you'd like to connect with more, you can have private sessions. They're online classes, and they're all accessed through my website, www.suehidalgo.com. Thanks, and hope you're going to be a happy human.